8 European cities destroyed by overtourism. Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we'll dive into how overtourism is threatening the essence of Europe's beloved cities, straining infrastructure and eroding cultural identities. As these destinations grapple with the challenge of balancing tourism with preservation, they face an uncertain future, risking the loss of the very charm that made them famous. Join us as we explore the impact on 8 iconic European cities. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos. Number 8. Florence, Italy. Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance, is now groaning under the burden of mass tourism. Once a sanctuary for art enthusiasts and history aficionados, the city is now overwhelmed by packed museums and historic sites, leaving little space for locals to enjoy their cultural treasures. The soaring influx of tourists has escalated the cost of living, making it increasingly challenging for residents to afford life in their own city. Landmarks like the Uffizi Gallery and Ponte Vecchio are becoming mere backdrops for crowded selfies, losing their historical significance. Traditional local businesses, once thriving on the city's unique culture, are being replaced by souvenir shops catering to tourist demands. This growing commercial focus risks eroding the soul of Florence, transforming it into a superficial representation of its former self. The question looms, can Florence safeguard its invaluable history and culture, or is it doomed to become nothing more than a tourist caricature? Number 7. Prague, Czech Republic. Prague, with its enchanting architecture and deep-rooted history, has seen its serene atmosphere disrupted by a surge of tourists. The peaceful charm of its old town has been replaced by the constant hustle of visitors, making it tough for locals to navigate their own streets. The historic areas, once brimming with authentic local culture, are now dominated by commercial shops selling trinkets to tourists. The nightlife, once a unique reflection of Prague's vibrant culture, now caters more to tourists than to its own residents. This shift has led to increased noise, pollution, and rising living costs, alienating the local population. The heart of Prague, with its centuries-old traditions and deep cultural roots, is at risk of being lost amid the demands of modern tourism. As Prague's authentic charm fades, the pressing question is, can the city find a balance that protects its cultural identity while still welcoming visitors, or will it continue to be consumed by the tide of tourism? Number 6. Reykjavik, Iceland. Reykjavik, the entry point to Iceland's awe-inspiring natural beauty, faces a tourism boom that endangers the very landscapes people come to admire. What was once a quiet retreat for nature enthusiasts has become a bustling city, with tourists flocking in every season. This constant influx has strained local resources, increased pollution, and driven up prices, making life increasingly difficult for Reykjavik's residents. The city's charm, once rooted in its harmony with nature, is now at risk as the surrounding wilderness suffers from the impact of overtourism. Iconic sites like the Blue Lagoon and Golden Circle are seeing wear and tear from the overwhelming number of visitors. Reykjavik's infrastructure, built for a much smaller population, is struggling to keep up with the demands of tourism. Even the city's cultural identity is threatened as traditional Icelandic ways of life are commercialized to satisfy tourist appetites. The high cost of living, driven by the demand for tourist accommodations, is pushing locals out of their homes. Number 5. Amsterdam, Netherlands. Amsterdam, famous for its scenic canals and rich heritage, is now grappling with the downside of its success as a top tourist destination. The city's iconic attractions, such as the Anne Frank House and Van Gogh Museum, are perpetually overcrowded, leaving little room for locals to enjoy their cultural landmarks. Once peaceful neighborhoods have become tourist hotspots, disrupting the daily lives of Amsterdam's residents. The city's infrastructure is under severe strain, struggling to accommodate the ever-increasing number of visitors. Amsterdam's unique charm, characterized by its harmonious blend of old-world architecture and modern vibrancy, is at risk of being lost to overtourism. The tranquil canals, once symbols of serenity, are now crowded with tourist boats, diminishing the city's peaceful atmosphere. As Amsterdam battles these challenges, it faces a pivotal question. Can the city protect its cultural integrity and maintain a livable environment for its residents, or will it be overwhelmed by the very tourism that has made it famous? Number 4. Santorini, Greece. Santorini, with its iconic whitewashed buildings and stunning sunsets, is becoming a victim of its own popularity. The island, originally designed to support a small population, is now overwhelmed by millions of tourists each year, far exceeding its capacity. The narrow streets of picturesque towns like Oya are often so packed that it's nearly impossible to enjoy the scenic views. Local residents, once accustomed to a tranquil lifestyle, now find themselves enduring constant crowds with little respite. The environmental impact of this influx is severe, with the island facing issues like water shortages and inadequate waste management. The strain on Santorini's natural resources is jeopardizing its fragile ecosystem, including its marine life and traditional agriculture. The island's economy, once reliant on small-scale farming and fishing, is now dominated by tourism, raising concerns about long-term sustainability. As overtourism threatens to erase the very elements that make Santorini so special, one must ask, will the island's breathtaking beauty survive under the strain of mass tourism, or will it be irreparably damaged? Number 3. Dubrovnik, Croatia. Dubrovnik, the historic walled city on Croatia's Adriatic coast, has seen its popularity skyrocket, largely due to its role in the TV series Game of Thrones. Once a tranquil haven of medieval architecture, Dubrovnik now faces a daily influx of tourists, especially from cruise ships, putting immense pressure on the city's infrastructure. The ancient streets, once filled with local life, are now packed with visitors, making it difficult for residents to go about their daily lives. The impact of this tourism boom is visible everywhere, from the wear and tear on historic buildings to the overcrowded city squares. Even the natural environment surrounding Dubrovnik is under threat, with increased pollution and strain on local ecosystems. As Dubrovnik's unique cultural heritage is overshadowed by the demands of modern tourism, the city faces a critical challenge. Can Dubrovnik protect its historic charm and maintain a sustainable balance between its cultural heritage and tourism, or will it continue to be overwhelmed by the very popularity that brought it fame? Number 2. Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona, renowned for its striking architecture and vibrant cultural scene, is increasingly overwhelmed by the pressures of overtourism. The surge in visitors has transformed local neighborhoods into crowded tourist zones, disrupting the daily lives of residents. The city's most famous landmarks like La Sagrada Familia and Park Güell are now so packed with tourists that locals often avoid them altogether. This influx has also driven a housing crisis as short-term rentals push residents out of their homes to make way for tourists. The commercialization of local culture, with traditional shops and eateries being replaced by tourist-oriented businesses, is eroding Barcelona's authentic identity. The city's beaches, once a cherished retreat for locals, are now crowded with tourists, leaving little space for residents to relax. Environmental concerns are mounting as well, with increased pollution and a strain on the city's resources. Protests against overtourism have become a common sight as Barcelonians strive to reclaim their city from the tide of visitors. As Barcelona navigates these challenges, the question remains, can the city preserve its rich cultural heritage and maintain a livable environment for its residents, or will it be consumed by the relentless flow of tourism? Number 1. Venice, Italy. Venice, the romantic city built on water, is struggling to stay afloat under the weight of overtourism. Each year, millions of tourists descend upon its narrow streets and canals, overwhelming the city's fragile infrastructure. The sheer number of visitors has led to increased pollution, damaging the city's delicate ecosystem and historic sites. Venetians are being pushed out of their homes as short-term rentals take over residential areas, leading to a population decline. The rising water levels, exacerbated by climate change, are further threatening the city's survival, with frequent flooding causing damage to its historic buildings. The city's cultural life, known for its art, music, and festivals, is being overshadowed by the demands of mass tourism. Public transportation and waste management systems are stretched to their limits, struggling to cope with the constant influx of tourists. Venice, once a symbol of serene beauty and cultural richness, is now at risk of becoming a mere tourist playground. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated with our latest videos on YouTube.